Yeah, I was just like trying to compare that to like maybe the OG Ethereum community and see like if that like kind of shows like how Hex can be in a few years or even Pulse
Right.
could be in a few years. Like if we
I
had
think
$300,
there was more people in the OG in the there was more people had Ethereum back in the day than they did Hex in the beginning. Like the first day we had a ton of interest, and then it waned off for a while, and we had a lot of people just like there was actually quite a lot for the first day of Hex when it launched, day one, day two, day three, and then it got boring for a bit, or like the price kept going down, and then people left, and then the FUD get away, and so a lot of people sold their bags. So there was quite a lot of people, and only the people who really believed or just decided, well, fuck, I lost my money anyway. Who cares? They just left it, which is like honestly sometimes like not a terrible strategy. Just fucking like saying fuck it. Well, I took the L already. Oh well, let's see what happens. And have been pretty much vindicated and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of what I think's kind of going on with Hex on that side. Doesn't mean like there's always new people coming up, like to the turtles and the squids and stuff. Or there's always a lot of them. There's goes quite a lot. But in terms of like the Hexagon army, like legitimately, like most people you see on Twitter, like the most people you see on Twitter and stuff that are like diehard Hexagons, and I mean this is no disrespect. Most of them are all squids or turtles, basically.
mm,
Where's the chart? Is there a chart for that? Turtles.
Not a chart, but if you go to Staker.app, there's actually leagues, and they actually do show how many wallets or how many leagues, so you can get a rough approximation. So I'm kind of going off of those numbers, basically. Yeah, and yeah, it's pretty. It's you know, it's I mean, it just kind of is what it is, you know, like yeah, with all that stuff, and obviously people are hex flexing and stuff. That's why like we're like maybe a month or two ago, maybe 3 months ago, I made a joke when hex hits $1. Like I did this little meme of like Goku putting all this fucking like Louis Vuitton and all this shit, like because when hex goes to $1, like all the turtles, right? I think to be a turtle, if I got my math correct, I think it's 1 million hex staked. If I remember correctly, there's a certain amount of t-shirts. I think it's like 100 t-shirts, if I remember correctly, or maybe that was a squid. But like
turtles 10, 11.
Yeah, 10, 11. So maybe I'm may be thinking about the squids basically, which have a ton of t-shirts plus. At $1, like that's going to be a huge group that's going to get paid. Like we have not seen anything on the HexFlex side yet, like anything else. If we get sustainably hold like $1, $2 hex, like goddamn, because like 100 t-shares probably produces about 700 to 600 hex a day, right? So just off the rip per year on just 100 t-shares. So it could really add up. So like somebody has like a stake of 40,000 hex that comes out with payday interest on it and stuff. So it ends up being like somewhere closer to probably like 80,000 hex that comes out on a stake, which to some people that's not a lot. Some people it's a fuck ton. And then if hex is at $1.50, $2, they're talking about $250,000 stake. Basically, that's a lot of guap.
Do you think that like as we go on, like there's going to be more and more people rising in ranks, and then wouldn't it be like too cluttered, like on specific levels where we have to like change like the bounds of like who's like a squid, who's like this, who's that?
Yeah. So in terms of like the system, if you're playing the system right as a hex, as an OG hexagon, you're always staking out. So there's a way for you to like take like. All right. So if I have a stake come out today, it's a 2-year stake for me. I can then take my principal and stake it out anywhere from 5 to 10 years. And my t-shirts actually either I maintain my t-shirts or I grow them. There's actually a strategy for me to take my interest, put it in my pocket, take my principal, stake it out 10 years, and have my t-shirts increase something like 40 to 50% on that stake over time. And so what happens is it's a 2-factor thing. 1, my t-shirts are growing. Sick. 2, every year that passes, my income off of my hex staking ladder grows by 20% plus every year. So for the next 10 years, like anyone has a staking ladder, you guys included, are only getting richer every year, basically. So your income or your hex income is only going up every day. But the counteractor of that is basically the hex t-shirt price keeps going up consistently as well, which is a way for it to soak up a bunch of the t-shirts. So during times when the prices are really like dirt cheap, if the hex price ever collapsed down, you could buy millions and millions and millions of hex and just stake out. I mean, obviously it's everyone's preference, you know, you know, because I know it's a lot of money and stuff. But like, you could buy a bunch of hex and make yourself a new hexing ladder and stuff, and just buy yourself a bunch of T-shares and stuff. Because there's always I do believe there's always a couple opportunities every couple of years where you're able to just fucking rob the bank blind. if you got the you know, the fortitude to actually you know, go through with your plan, because it's gonna be scary, you know, like during those times when there's like blood in the streets and stuff, and like, you know, we don't know where the bottom is. It's pretty spooky, but that's where you can make quite a lot of money. But it's like you know, but you can totally lose all your cash as well. I mean, I don't think Hex is gonna fail or nothing like that, but what I'm trying to say is, like, you can buy it, you think the bottom's there, and then it keeps going lower. You're like, fuck. It just keeps dropping. So that's why, like, I mean, just to go off of what, like, Jerry Oaksmith here was talking about right here with the staking ladders and the way to go. Yeah, like, this is why I was the fucking biggest proponent dollar cost crypto. I was like the biggest proponent of the income ladder, which some people were not like down for. A lot of dudes were doing like one big stake a year, which I think is retarded personally. But that's, you know, that's if you can do that, sure. Some people were literally scared. Like, I remember some guys I talked to back in the day had a lot of hex. Yeah, Miguel, I'm just I got one stake every other year. I'm like, what? So, I mean, I'm probably more in the camp of, like, I think quarterlies are probably the best if you can afford them. But one hex stake a year, if that's all you can do, that's perfectly fine. But when I was talking about that little insult I was talking about earlier, that was for like guys who had like millions of hex. You know, he had tons. So they were putting 15 million, 8 million, 7 million in one stake, like, which is fine. But, like, you know what I mean? It's a lot of, like. They made that cookie jar very gigantic, and then this is something me and RG3 from Discord Syndicate were always like, you got to put some stuff out there to protect yourself. Like someone like GT from like the Hex community, he came up with this, was actually pretty smart. Like, everyone's creating these Quattro Cinco stakes, these 555 stakes, and which is perfect, right? Like, you have a 5555 stake, cool, but they wouldn't create a 7.5 year stake. And people ask me, why is 7.5 year stake? Because what happens in 7.5 years, what if Hex, what let's just say, oh, you knock on wood, please God, but like 7.5 years from now, Hex is like $20, $40. Damn, that stake looking nice. That's looking juicy right there. Real juicy. And there's no penalty. Hey, Miguel, there's no penalty, man. I mean, hey, dude, just unstake it, bro. You should just buy yourself a house, bro. It's don't say maybe your mama deserves a house, man. Come on. Like, and so what I always did in my staking ladder, especially, like, obviously I try everyone, I have to, like, when I do consultations with people, I always do very bespoke things depending on how much you have. Sometimes you have a very small amount, and we just have to do it. It just is what it is. It's just, we got to be like boom, 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 like that. That's it. But when you have a lot more hex, we can be more flexible, and I'm able to, like, provide, like, pressure release valves at all times, because like, one thing that RG and me did and stuff was, like, our 15-year stakes. Like, some people would just throw out a big one at 15-year, which is fine, the 555. One thing that we did, which was smart, is split. So let's just say you had 1 million hex. Why not just put 4.25 million hex stakes out there? This was as an example to you guys, because if you ever did need the money where you're in big trouble, you didn't have to unstake the whole 1 million. You could maybe take 3/4 of it. At least you still have one. You know what I mean? That optionality is what people weren't really thinking about before. Obviously, like, these strategies came out after 6-7 months of us fucking around with it. But, like, during those 7 months, we still had the ability to use Texas well under a penny. We're talking about 22% of a penny, 2% of a penny, stuff like that, or even lower. But at the same time too, like, it was just like, we're just like crackheads and stuff. Like, people like, oh yeah, you guys, sure, 15 years, oh yeah, like, everyone calling you scammers and shit. So it's like, honestly, like, the success Hex has had and will continue to have is, like, pretty it's pretty well deserved for a lot of the OG Hex, because we took a lot of shit for, like, believing in Hex, basically, and on any project. I mean, dude, like, on average, right, like, the average person around the world doesn't even believe in crypto. So I mean, like, they're already fucking lost. But yeah, I hope I answered your question. I think that was a little long-winded. My bad.
So with Pulsion coming out, do you think that, like,